What's good? It's your boy CJ Goodfellow. We back with the boxing clinic. You dig? One time for the one time. You know what it is. We're talking that real boxing ish. And it came up that somebody asked on the boxing thread, in the group, what was the next big pay per view fight after Canelo and Triple G. Errol Spence and Keith Thurman was brought up, and what would that be a potential pay per view fight? I said 60 SD and $65 high definition. I think if it's built up the right way, of course, I think it has the potential to be a solid pay-per-view. I think about, somewhere in the 400 to 500K, ballpark. $1 million would be a hell of a stretch here. Pretty much two unknown commodities amongst casuals. I think more casuals know Keith Thurman because, his body of work has been a more upper echelon than Errol Spence to this point. But I think with the PBC model, with the top rank following the PBC model, I think they're trying to get away from the pay-per-view model. I think Errol Spence and Keith Thurman, in my opinion, will be another great regular Fox, regular CBS type fight. Somewhere with Keith Thurman and Sean Porter, but 10 times of 10 times the build up, 10 times the fireworks, 10 times the anticipation. But this fight can definitely be in high demand. And pay-per-view status if they build it right. What I mean if they build it right on Keith Thurman, and if he, comeback fight, Sean Porter fight on CBS, then end of the year, Errol Spence. Now I know people that are saying that's Keith Thurman detractors are probably saying like, oh, Keith Thurman only fought once the last 2 years. Yes, but in that reason, he need to get his money up. He need to get his clout up. He needs to be fighting more than one time a year. He should fight, minimum 3 times next year, really 4 times. But let's be nice, minimum 3. And then the latter half of the year, that should be the Errol Spence fighting for Errol Spence. Lamont Peterson would, catapult him into a better stardom, especially if they do it in the DC Army or, Brooklyn Barclay. Then another guy, then he would have the mandatory with Constantine Pullman that he probably would want to get out the way, even though a unification bout with Keith Thurman with Trump, mandatory and Constantine Pullman, and clearly Constantine Pullman don't want no parts of Errol Spence. He already pulled out of that fight once. That's if he beat Carlos Ocampo. So, 2 or 3 fights for Errol Spence next year, that'd be good. And then they're able to build the latter half of the year fight up with Keith and Errol Spence. And it could, potentially be pay-per-view worthy. But in my opinion, I think it's a good regular Fox, regular CBS card, main event. I'd like to see what y'all think. Would you guys pay pay-per-view with a good, PBC undercard? We know PBC gives, good, adequate undercards as well. This isn't Top Rank where they give a bullshit undercard with nobody on it or just names and mismatches. So, I think a lot of hardcore fans would be willing to pay the $60, $65, 50 minimum, 55 HD minimum. But would a casuals be able to do that? I mean, do they need to build this fight up a little bit more? It's the names at welterweight. But potentially this could carry on to a pay-per-view for the simple fact, from this point of view, the winner, Keith Thurman, Errol Spence, if Terrence Crawford is able to do anything outside of the top-ranked stable at welterweight, he's able to, fight somebody, fight a Jeff Horn or fight a Pacquiao, and, he get his star status up on ESPN. I think the winner of that and, Bud Crawford could be a big, big pay-per-view fight. But it's so hard, man, now to have pay-per-view models with all the streaming, stealing. You're just better off putting on regular ESPN, a regular Fox, a regular CBS. You're just better off doing it that way, in my opinion. Just get away from the pay-per-view model. I think the pay-per-view model is pretty much an integral part of the demise of boxing, the downfall of boxing. Let's just get it popping. Once these guys get very, very big, you can do like the Super Bowl, price the commercial ads, a little bit higher, and it can bring in more revenue, similar to what the Super Bowl does, But we'll see, man. It's very hard to build American fighters, especially early on in their career, especially when they have bland personalities like, Errol Spence. Keith Thurman has a personality. Terrence Crawford has a bland personality, but him and Errol are not really bland or, boring or just vanilla. Just the simple fact that they're not going out their nature to build a character that's not them. Keith Thurman has some characteristics, very outgoing, can be boastful at times, and that's going to work in his favor as he's his rise to become one of the better top pound-for-pound fighters right now. But, Errol Spence and Terrence Crawford, they let their hands do the talking. And eventually those guys get their notoriety and they're going to get their step up on a big stage. If you got pop, you got power, you got real skills, your time will really come. You know, you just have to build that legacy and build that resume and get that clout. So let me know what y'all think, pay-per-view or not. We gone.